So a few months ago I made this airsoft gun. Let me go get that. This is supposed to be the Vandal from Valorant. This is the Vandal. It's just from a gun from a video game. This build ended up being a failure. Well, kind of a failure. Kind of not. It was like 50-50. Well, first of all, I had to print this thing way bigger than it should be in the video game world. It's oversized. The reason it's oversized is because the gearbox that I used, it only fits in one orientation. So to make the gun look proportional, I had to enlarge it bigger than it should be to encompass the gearbox. The airsoft gearbox is just bulky. So with that setup, maybe there's a cheaper, simpler, smaller way to make an airsoft gearbox. There's actually a pretty big community of people who 3D print Nerf guns. A lot of these Nerf guns use these flywheels. This guy's got 16 flywheels. Basically, a flywheel setup is a lot easier electronically and mechanically to make, which is good for 3D printing. So the question is, can you use a flywheel setup to fire an airsoft BB? So then I did a little bit more research and I found this really simple pitching machine, as simple as it gets. Then I found another example. You can see it even has a upward curve to it, kind of like airsoft BBs have. Is it possible to scale those baseball pitching machines down to the size of an airsoft BB? And how fast can we shoot those? They are using baseballs. Airsoft BBs are plastic. Can we even get enough pinching force on the BB to actually chuck it out of this flywheel? So many unanswered questions. First things first, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this image, see how much bigger this flywheel is than the ball. Use one BB as the ball and then scale our wheel accordingly. And then 3D print that thing out and attach it to a motor, hook up a battery, and shoot it out of that thing, see what happens. Alright, I'm gonna calibrate this baseball to the size of an airsoft BB. This airsoft BB is 5.84 millimeters. 8.5, yeah, that'll work. Now we can see how big this wheel is. Well, it looks like we should make this wheel about 32 millimeters. Alright, that big. I'm struggling right now. Yeah, I went through about 4 tests. It's 3 a.m. I'm tired. I didn't realize the wheel's spinning the wrong way and I'm trying to force the BB in there. Time for bed. I made some mistakes on the first model. It's the one on the right. It's too long. And then, so this is the new one. So you can see it's a little shorter right there. And I made the hole bigger. Let's get this thing tied down and try to shoot some BBs out of it. I'm gonna be firing it this way, straight at the wall, which probably isn't smart, but I don't want to fire it at me, so I'm just gonna fire it that way and see what happens. Well, it fired a BB. That's good news, I think. Doesn't look like it's going very fast. Let's fire it the other way and see how far it goes. BB looks like it picked up some of the material from the wheel, like it's grinding in there before it's catching, so I don't know what the deal with that is. For whatever reason, when you try to feed it slowly, it doesn't shoot it as far, and you get some backspin and it tries to go back out the feeding tube. But when you kind of jam it in there, it thrusts it past the center point where it's getting pinched, and then it shoots it a lot quicker. It's still not very fast, but so how do I optimize this thing? I think first thing is find the optimal ratio of pinch, a better way to feed it more consistently, also a more durable wheel. So those are the first three things I would say we need to fix if this is going to be viable. For a first prototype, it did shoot it, not at the speed of an airsoft gun, but it did shoot it out of there, so that's encouraging. Next video is coming out in the next few days.